Oi, oi! In this episode of Anti-Post Insight, we're going to be looking at most of the Cheltenham markets. We're going to be looking at some people's anti-post advice. DC Daryl Carter will be scrupulated, under scrupulation. I don't even know what the word is, but I'm going to be looking at his selections. I'm going to be looking at Up in the Ante. We're just going to go from episode 4 because CBA to go further back with some of the donkey stuff they've already put up. King of Kingsfield, what? I've already talked about him. Then we're going to go on to the Cheltenham Exchange. They put their third episode up, talk about a few of their selections again. They put more stuff out there. If you haven't already seen it, go and have a look. But let's just crack. I was going to say the fuck on, but let's just crack on. Also, something else just to quickly mention to you guys at the start of it. Obviously, please do like the video. Please do subscribe to the channel because it does support me. But I have got an anti-post column that I'm sticking out on gg.co.uk. Put a few selections on there with the aim that, you know, they're going to be bigger prizes. We can probably stick a few in. We'll see how we go. Not so good last week with Prashima. But this week's article, I'll stick a link to it. You can go and have a click and have a little read through. But I just want to show you something in here that I think could be handy for all to see. So we've got some entries coming out, and we've had a lot of talk recently about like Sir Gerhard not being seen and all the horses that haven't been seen from Willie Mullins from Closer. And now Harps, that does the anti-post videos, not scripulating his anti-post bets. What do I say, scripulating? Is it even a word? But I'm not talking about his ones this week. He put a tweet out that's got a good bit of traction, just saying how many horses for Willie Mullins we're yet to see, like the amount of ammo that he's got. I just wanted to really talk about the fact that when this gets mentioned, lots of people maybe have this feeling or impression that it's something to worry about. But I just wanted to say, over the last decade, these are the number of novices that have won at the festival, whether they've won a novice race, whether it's actually been a handicap, and how many have been seen at this point or after. So where I put the before and after, Thurles that runs on Thursday, recording this on the Wednesday, is obviously after the point that I published this article. So you look at it there. For their hurdle winners, including Triumph, Mayor's Novice, Supreme, Ballymore, all of that, 9 have run before this time and 9 have run after, so nothing to worry about. We're in the midpoint. Chasers, there's 6 that have run before and 6 that run after. Again, that's split across the Arkle, National Hunt Chase, Turners, Brown Advisory. Then for the handicaps, so we have had lots of Stateman, some while winning the county. 2 of them had run before and 3 had actually run after. So you can see the total numbers there of the 35 novices in the last 10 years that Willie Mullins has won a race with at the festival. I think that's right. It was a bit of a manual process for me to do this. But you can see most of them have run by now, or say most of them have, but they've about the same sort of split. You know, some of them have not been seen yet, so don't worry about it. Obviously, we've had unseasonably like dry ground in the UK, but over in Ireland there has been some nice deep ground for horses to run in. If they're not ready to go, what's the point? You might as well just wait a couple of weeks. So nothing to worry about in there. Also in the article, I don't put up a bet this week, but I do talk about lots of horses, and I'll give you a pointer each week to the big races that I'm talking about, what that meant in the last few years. So who was the last horse to win that race and go on to win at the festival? And it gives you a bit of a feel of whether weekend's racing is just good and exciting for the weekend or whether it actually is really good pointers for Cheltenham. So you can see some of the races that are going this weekend. We've had lots of winners in the last few years going on to Cheltenham Festival success. So enough about me. Talk about Jet Powered in there as well. Talk about Constitution Hill. Not that any of it needed to be said. But again, I say no bet. I'm going to stick a link in the description to the column. Please do go and give it a little click because that helps me. Where should we start? Should we start with Daryl? No, let's leave Daryl till last. We're going to have a look at Cheltenham Exchange. We've got 2 bets put up there from Alex. We got John puts up 1, Matty puts up 1, Ian puts up 1. You can see it on the screen. Encanto Bruno for the bumper, 25-1. What I'll do is I'm going to quickly go through each of these and just show you my thought process when I'm looking at stuff. Obviously, I do watch replays and I've seen the races firsthand, but just to let you know where I stand on stuff. And then we're going to do the same for the Up in the Ante ones. They've put 2 up, Gelino Bello and Comfort Zone. I'm going to go on to Daryl's and then see how long the video's going to see how much we'll talk about some other markets. So, Cheltenham Exchange, please do go and subscribe to their channel. I should be able to stick a link above to this video, so go and have a watch of that. But yeah, real good traction on their stuff, real good insight, and I like a couple of the ones in here. I can see the logic. So, Alex, let's go on to Encanto Bruno to begin with. In the bumper, I'll give you like literally my honest thoughts on stuff. So it's a John McConnell horse. That's the first and foremost. Again, I'm a snob, but I don't care. It's good ground horse, and it's got an RPI of 118. I know it's a class 2 at Cheltenham, but John McConnell does target that October meeting because he knows how weak it is. I don't like it for a bump horse in the slightest, but again, I'm there to be poked at. It is a 25-1 poke, so we can all have a swing. You saw I stuck up Prashima for the stairs, so what? But this horse did come out. The horse that was in second strong nearly came out and won a race, but like it's a pretty poor race that it's come out and won. It's done a racing post rating of 117. Like I know it's the borderline been franked a little bit, but it doesn't excite me in the slightest. If we look at the champion bumper bet in for Canterbury, he's put up at 25s, which is fine. It is the top price. You can see it's 20s and a bit shorter in other places. And this isn't to say this is the case with it, but sometimes bets maybe look a little more attractive when they are that bit of a bigger price. So I talk about value and entry points, things like that. It may be that Alex has said because it's 25s, he thinks that's fair. He probably should be a shorter price. Fair play. It's one to get on the team sheet. And as I say, I'm a massive advocate of getting multiple selections in there. So if you think it's got a bit of a chance, happy days, go with it. But wouldn't be for me in the slightest, to be honest with you. But there we are. John put up Persia's Way and the Triumph. Have we got that one up next? No, we've got Brown Advisory. So we'll do that. We'll go on to Manella Kakuna for Ian. He put up the Brown Advisory 10-1. So look, thing with Manella Kakuna, he talks about it. Got beat first time up last season. Wasn't a concern for him. And I don't think chasers getting beat is a major concern when it comes to an RSA. Lots of horses have fallen or unseated and gone on to taste success there. It was on heavy ground. He's got form on faster surfaces, possibly his better forms on the faster surfaces. One semi-reservation with Manella Kakuna is the fact that his best form is being beaten. Those runs by behind the Nice Guy, which obviously he looks like a serious prospect. He is out for the season, so that helps a bit. Was obviously beaten in his point to point as well. So you do get lots of these horses that should make a better chaser. You also do get some that should and maybe don't. I'll have a look at the breeding of all these horses just to see if we've got anything that really stands out in the back to look like a horse that's really gone prevalent as a chaser after. I mean, I like the horse. I think it's clearly got a lot of ability. I would just maybe slightly worry about, is he worthy of being as short as a 10-1 poke? And he is a general 10-1 poke. I don't mind the fact that he's beaten on debut. I do think it looks a fairly open race. He could be Willie's best option in there, couldn't he? But I don't know. We'll have to find out next time. I thought he ran pretty well, to be honest with you. In the heavy ground, the 2.5, he easily could make a Brown Advisory horse. So I can't really pick too many holes in it, other than the fact that 10s is maybe a bit skinny. And we know Monkfish was 10s at the start of the season when he went and won it. But it's a different year, a different horse talking nonsense. Persia's Way in the Triumph. We've also got Nusret in the Triumph. I'll go through the two of them. Oh, Hollow Games for Matty. I haven't even put him up on the Racing Post bit at the top. I like Hollow Games. I talked about it in my article the last couple of weeks. Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott has come out and said that he's probably been running this horse at the wrong trip, thinking he needs a bit further, all those sort of things. When he said he's been running him at the wrong trip, that was mostly middle. I wonder whether this horse could end up in the Arkle. And I thought I was very impressed with his chase debut, the speed that he showed. So we'll see what goes on with him. He has got an entry in the Drimwall this weekend. I don't think he'll go for that. We'll see. But I do wonder whether he might try him in there. I've just said he won't go for it, but he might try him in there. But I think there's like an Arkle, like a 2-mile novice chase at Christmas that he's in. I wonder if that's where he might go. Like, I feel like he could be more of an Arkley type. But the Turners probably is the most logical one. 16-1 I don't think is a foul price. I just don't know where he'll end up. Very much my Black Hercules mould of a few years back, where he could end up absolutely anywhere. But I do like Hollow Games. I'd like to see him run the next time, but then you're probably going to lose the price out of him. But he's an interesting one, so I don't mind that one, Matty. Then on to the two Triumph ones to get them done. So Persia's Way for Gary Moore. And I do get this one because obviously Gary Moore does like horses going to the Triumph. I mean, he'll run something in there, won't he? He doesn't really like Cheltenham, does our Gary. I know he's had runners there and winners there, but he does seem to slate it quite a bit. I don't even know why it's only priced there as one. I think you said the same when you were doing your bit. Where is he in there? I mean, you can get 33s. What did you put him up as? 25s, I think, didn't you? In here? Where is he? Is he in here somewhere? What was he put up at? I mean, I'm very well prepared, as you can see. There's my little snip. Where did he put him up? 25s. I can't see him. I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot. You'll all be shouting. You won't be shouting. No one will even be watching, will they? Where is he? Oh, underneath. Yeah, there's a bit of 33s, 25s. The long and the short of this one for me is that script writer run could be okay. And then they're talking there about the fact he ran keen, didn't jump with fluency, and did well in the circumstances. That could work out to be a nice race. And he could end up being a horse that does run in the Triumph and does end up being undervalued. So I like that one, to be honest with you. I would, again, happily have 4 or 5 for me running the Triumph and backing him at 25 plus just to get him in the team sheet, because you stick your 5s or 10s on, you've got a nice little book in there. So can't massively fault that one. What he beat after's not really irrelevant, but it is to an extent because he's absolutely dotted up. The Racing Post rating is fairly trash. Even the Racing Post rating in this race, where he beat Scriptwriter or came second to Scriptwriter, is fairly trash. So it's the whole mould of typically like the Goshen stuff in it, where you don't know how good he could be, but I think there's more potential with him than there is for some other horses. The big negative could be ground on this one, but we've had a dry year. Could be dry for carrying on. Then we'll go on to Nusret. 117 rated on the Race Post rating, so better than Perseus Way's done. Nusret was put up 20s, and we'll see what price he is left now. You can still get some 20s. Again, similar thing though, isn't there? There's like some 12s and 14s about. So is it a bet because it's 20s, or is it a bet because we really fancy it? But by the by, pass would be my answer on it. I mean, he has won nicely. I'm not so sure the fact that Darryl Jacobs gone to ride is like a massive boost. He's gone over to Ireland to ride plenty of times. This horse Calico, I know for a fact when I click on it, he's run loads of times. That's a worry, or she has. That's a bit of a worry. Don't know what Nusret's really beaten. So yeah, wouldn't do anything for me. That particular one. So I think we've done the Cheltenham Exchange, boys. So apologies if I don't want anyone to take offence to the way that's in there. It's just my thoughts going in there. No one probably cares about my thoughts on some of these bets in there anyway, but like it's there. It's maybe sometimes it is nice to have the rebuttal, because often we have these columns and posts that go out there where we haven't got the counter argument. The same as what I'm writing. Like a lot of people, when I've put Prashima up there, hopefully off the back of their own minds, would be able to challenge why you're betting it, the same as Monroe, or they'll to read it and think, oh, do you know what, there's enough reason for me to want to have a little nibble in there, or even just to put horses on radars. But anywho, feel free to come back at me with anything, because I'm doing it to obviously everybody else. But it's good, I want to get people talking. We've got a nice little whip round at the minute of all this Cheltenham Antepost content. Loads of people poo-poo Cheltenham, but stuff them because it's the nuts. Right, up in the ante, let's stick it at them. So we've got two races we've already looked at. Let's have a look at Comfort Zone. We're in the Triumph. We'll have a little look at it. So again, just Racing Post rating, just as a quick little schnaz, 124. So happy days within there. I've got a little issue with Comfort Zone personally, but again, like, it's more price than anything, I guess, with where he is at now. If you like, I did watch the race, and Comfort Zone did run well. Obviously, JP had two horses in it. Now, if you look at, again, exchanges would be much more of a better clue, but this Tekiao was not really supported. 8 to 11, touched 10 to 11, went off 5 to 6, so a bit of a drifter. Comfort Zone was backed 9 to 2 into 100 to 30. So whether it was JP's cash going in, you would just imagine that Tekiao probably didn't warrant being favourite, and the prices they were could have been round. How much of a difference that makes or not is borderline irrelevant. But I struggle to see this horse shaping and making into an absolute worldie, i.e. the level of a Triumph Hurdle horse. We can see from the breeding there, we've got the Flying Scotsman in there that Joseph O'Brien had as well. So very similar breeding, i.e. proper flat sire. I mean, it doesn't do enough for me to be wowed by it. I know when you can visibly watch a race and you can be taken away by it, but that wasn't enough for me in there. I think he put Comfort Zone up at maybe 16s, it's 12s. It's just way too short for me. And again, I'll go back to something else. I know we'll talk about anti-post betting's changed and things like that, but Vauban and Pied Piper, after they clashed together in that maiden over Christmas, was 16s and like 20s each of them, and they were well clear, and you could tell they were two proper horses. So the fact you're getting something like this 12s in a race that's not really proved anything is just, it's crap to me. So don't really like it. Gelino Bello, I do get it. I think he's scratching to try and find one at a price in this particular race. The form at Cheltenham I get looks like is all right. It's got Cheltenham form, but it is in defeat again. Talked about this with Manella Kakuna, and I don't really like their best form being in defeat. The key thing with Gelino Bello is I think he's a nice horse, and I know that obviously Nichol's horses will progress over fences. The Gentleman at Arms race at Aintree, I put up Gentleman at Arms for racing tips. That was 25s, and I was a bit disappointed that it got beat, but it did get beat by a better horse. He hasn't really done anything to frank the form since. He ran to about his number. He was 134. He's been beat 4 lengths. He has gone into handicap company since, but you'll see there that he's not done anything since, and he's now plummeting back down. And like I say, I think he's 134 horse, so he's going to struggle in those handicaps for the time being. when this horse has run in a handicap, he was well and truly bad. And I just think he's got an inflated rate, and I think he's been very well placed by Paul Nicholls. I don't think that is like a massively big boost of a win, but that was a race where there was 3 runners. His only opponent really turned around at the beginning, and he got the job done at the end of the day, didn't he? So I don't know, this horse could end up being a 4-miler as far as I'm concerned. Who knows? Again, it's hard to pick fault massively when a horse is like 20-1 or whatever, but 16s he's been nibbled into. Now I don't know whether he was just boosted top price. We can have a look if we go in here, and you can see the price changes when you look at history. So yeah, it was 20s before, everywhere else was 16s. Whether they boosted it or not, I don't know. But he's a 16s poke, isn't he? I don't know. I'd rather see him get an entry in the Feltham, the Cheltenham Novices Chase. I still think Stage Star could step up in trip, but we'll see what they do with that horse. Wouldn't be rushing in to back Gelino Bello in that, to be honest with you. Is due to run Friday at Exeter. I think the ground may be a bit too quick there for him to go, but we'll see. And then touching on the ground about being quick, this horse has run on varying ground, so you wouldn't be too worried about that. But that's those ones done. We're already getting ourselves far too long in this video. Let's have a quick look at Dazzlers on Betfair, because he's put a few in there, and I don't want to show bias and not pick apart some of his stuff. So his article's insane. Like the way that he reviews the race and talks about stuff, puts the time stats in there. It's more than enough information that if you were struggling to keep up with what's going on, read his column and you'll be there or thereabouts. Look, he's got a bundle of bets that are listed in here, so much easier for me to look at. We were talking about Facile Vega a bit before when he first started his column. He was saying about a couple of horses that he wanted to put up, and Facile Vega's a bigger price now than when he tipped him. I would think that Facile Vega could be batting more from the beginning of the season, but we know he's priced where he is and potentially short enough. But I get it as well with you guys that are putting the videos out and people that are doing written content. You've got to put something up every now and again, and you've got to get him in the book at some point. He's put up this week's. We're better to talk about those ones. El Fabiola for the Arkle at 6. I think that's because he was maybe thinking it was going to run Thursday, but still like it. The price that John Bon is, given that El Fabiola probably could have beat John Bon at Aintree. I know it's one line of form, but I kind of like the El Fabiola bit. 6-1's too skinny for me, but yeah, you can see why it's in there. Grange Clare West for the Ballymore, like I touched on, he's already put Facile Vega for the Ballymore, but Grange Clare West, a few people messaged me after that performance and they were very taken by it. I thought it was pretty good myself as well. Another one that's interesting, again, Exchange will tell you a lot more, but this horse opened at 6-5 and went off at 2-1. So relatively unfancied, done it in really, really good style, stayed, quickened, travelled, all of the elements you want to see. And when you've got a horse that, regardless of prices, has won on point to point in good style, that point racing pace rate of 93 steady enough. The bumper, again, regardless of price, whatever's done it in good style. And then obviously this maiden hurdle, it's gone and done it in good style. You have to sort of draw a line between the horses that are in behind and say that you don't really have to use them too much of a gauge. But I was fairly impressed with Grange Clare West. Whether it's warranting being a 10-1 poke is a big question. But I guess we'll just have to see, won't we? It's probably short enough, and he has got, I hate to say it, but the first 2 in the betting for the Ballymore already, and it's short in a lot of places. So I don't know how much sort of value there is to be had within that one, but again, it's one to get in the team sheet, and I sort of get it. So yeah, column's well worth reading anyway because of the fact there's some decent stuff in there. I think we've covered a lot of the markets anyway. I'll just quickly skim through a few of them just so that we can just get my thoughts on a few races. Okay, so Jet Powered, I do talk about it in the column. I wasn't blown away. 6-1 makes me laugh. I think even the price pre made me laugh a little bit, like was potentially short enough. You're all going to poo-poo me and say, why am I having a go at a horse that's gone and won as he did? I don't think it was that good a performance. I think the race was trash. Didn't like him jumping right. I think 6-1 is vile. I think it's disgusting that you've got 2-1 and 6-1 first 2 in the bet, and they've jumped a handful of hurdles between the 2 of them. Yeah, not keen on that market at the moment. Arkle, Monmerall, Nicholls is going to send into the Noel Novices Chase, which changed from 2 miles 3 when Simon Sigg won it and won the Arkle, so don't get too excited about that. Nicholls has never sent a horse to the Arkle after running it in that race, so probably a bit stuffed there, but I think a lot of you probably did say that as well, that he might need further. But anyhow, I'm genuinely still not ripping up the slip. I think if it had been slow enough ground this weekend, I think he could have had John Bonn at Sandown. So who knows what will happen come March. Like I mentioned, holiday games, though, I am semi-interested in him. I can't pull the trigger on him. We'll just have to see what's going on. But there we are. Champion Hurdle's just gone now, isn't it? Constitution Hill, can't lose. Mares Hurdle, Epatante probably should have been pushed out after that Constitution Hill win, I would have thought, but she didn't. Brandy Love's form's fairly solid. It's a tricky one to really want to get too excited about. I'm still sort of Epatante camp. We'll see how she goes through the season. You'd like to see her get a win before then, and she's probably short enough as it is. We can keep going. Ballymoreish, yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, haven't we? There's nothing really that's jumping out at me as a Ballymorey winner, to be honest. The Brown Advisory Novices Chase, I don't have a strong opinion in the race yet in terms of one that I'm really bullish on, but there's a few that are sort of lingering as horses that could do it. I would honestly, I'd love to see Stage Star in the Feltham just to get a clue, but we'll see. Champion Chase, Fernie Hollow, is he even around anymore? Like, I've touched on this in my column as well. Like, I think Shishkin's an okay price. He's shortened from 5s to 4s because of the Tingle Creek country, which obviously means everything's okay. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but if we keep the ground as it is, like, Energumene won that Champion Chase because it's an absolute bog. And I know we could say, oh, maybe it wasn't, maybe it didn't make a difference on the ground, but Shishkin beat him at Ascot, and I know people will say that's what ruined him. It didn't. He had an injury. If we can see Shishkin come back and run better, Shishkin will beat Energumene at Cheltenham. I have no doubt about that. So he's an okay one, but at the price and this far out, I don't want to be getting stuck into him. I'm not, there's question marks about him. Champion Bumper, Chapeau de Soleil, runs on Sunday at Fairyhouse. Envoy Elan's done the double of them two there. Like 8 to 1's mental in it. At this point, I'm not interested. Turner's again touched on it. Tinsy tiny weeny bit. Who knows what's going to go on in there? Ryanair Chase. We'll have to see with Allaho, won't we? Whether he actually turns up or not. Galloping would be massive in there. I did put up Blue Lord. He's done his bit. Whether he's going to be good enough to actually win it or not, I don't know. But he's probably going to book himself a ticket to that race at some point. Anyway, the Stairs Hurdle still is so left, right and centre. Like, I really don't know where to look at in that one, so I'm going to just stay away from that for a little while. Mares Novice, I thought Lucia was real good. I was a bit pissed off with myself, to be honest, because I mentioned it in the video that if I could get 2 to 1 about her, she would be a bet. I did do all right on that weekend. Didn't back Lucia. She was available at 2 to 1, and then because I was away, just didn't get in, just didn't keep an eye on the prices. So I'm annoyed with myself for not backing her. But you get that. She was 2 to 1 for a mare's like novice hurdle or a hurdle at Newbury against no Willie Mullins horses, and she's 4 to 1 now for a mare's novice. You'd have to struggle to think she's going to be much shorter unless Willie doesn't unleash anything of any benefit. But there are mares maiden hurdles and mares novices hurdles that will be run over in Ireland where something is going to look pretty good. So Lucia's price will stay, I suspect. Triumph Hurdle, I don't even know why people are putting bets in the Triumph this early on. Get bent. Albert Bartley, I love the race. I've got a couple again in the back burner, but who knows? I really want to see fucking Dark Raven for Willie Mullins come out. It's nice to see that name popped up there, but I fancied him for novices last year and it never came out. Gold Cup's going to be interesting. Ahoy Senior runs in the Many Clouds this weekend. I want to see him go King George as well. I think Ahoy Senior could do it. He needs to sharpen up his jumping. Experience will get him that, but yeah, we'll just have to see how he goes. Might be too big a boat. When we talk about these big horses, are like, wow, it's such a positive thing, but sometimes horses are too big. It's not natural. It's like, sort of survival of the fittest and the way that evolution works. There's a reason why they're bigger than normal, and it's not normal, is it? So we'll go with that. Allegory Devassi could run this weekend. The Mare's Chase, I'm not interested in it yet. So we'll just have to see, and then Martin Pipe will have something in that at some point, won't we? So this seems like a good enough point to probably wrap it up. As I say, they'll stick a link to my GG column that's in there. There will be some bets coming up again soon. Hopefully there's some informative information in there. That's what information is, isn't it? Regardless of whether the bets are in there. So I personally do think it's well worth a read. So appreciate your support on that. Please do like the video. Please do comment below if there's anything you didn't like me talking about or you do like me talking about. Please do subscribe to the channel. Please check out Daryl's betting.betfair.com challenge. column. And also do go make sure you subscribe to, I mean, fuck the Racing Post website because they've already got enough views, haven't they? But make sure you go and subscribe to the lads at Cheltenham Exchange. Decent stuff they're doing out there and loving the regular content that's coming out. So until I see you in the next week or the next couple of weeks, be lucky and thank you again for all your support.